The nurse does not just add jokes to Romeo and Juliet. She helps wreck it.
Yes, people remember her as warm, funny, and loyal to Juliet. She is all of those things. But she also makes three bad things possible: secrecy, speed, and surrender.
So this is not Nurse as harmless side character.
No. If you treat her as comic relief, you miss her actual function. She is the adult closest to Juliet, and that gives her influence. What she does with that influence matters.
Start there. Why does her closeness to Juliet matter so much?
Because Juliet trusts her more than anyone in the house. Lady Capulet is distant and formal. The nurse raised Juliet, fed her, talked with her, knows how to make her laugh. That intimacy makes the nurse feel safe. It also makes her dangerous when her judgment fails.
So the problem begins before the marriage plan. It begins with access.
Exactly. Juliet can confide in her. Romeo can use her as a go-between. In a house ruled by parents and status, the nurse becomes a private channel. That channel lets the relationship grow in secret instead of facing any public test.
And people call that helpful because she is helping the young lovers. But helpful to what, exactly?
Helpful to impulse, not to Juliet's safety. The nurse carries messages, arranges meetings, and helps get Juliet to Friar Lawrence for the marriage. That is not neutral support. She is enabling a high-risk plan between two teenagers who have known each other for about 5 minutes.
Concrete example.
After the Capulet party, Romeo sends word through the nurse. She teases Juliet, delays the message, then finally tells her where to go and when. She enjoys the game, but the result is serious. She helps convert a sudden attraction into a secret marriage before anyone has to think clearly.
And haste is the real engine of this play.
Right. The tragedy moves because nobody slows anything down. The nurse could have been the adult who said, "Stop, breathe, this is reckless." Instead, she helps accelerate it. Her affection does not make that wise. It makes it easier.
But we should be fair. She is not plotting Juliet's destruction.
Of course not. That is the point. She is not a villain. She is affectionate, lively, and often sincere. But bad judgment from a trusted adult can do more damage than open hostility, because it arrives disguised as care.
Then the play turns brutal. Tybalt is dead. Romeo is banished. Juliet is trapped. What does the nurse do when things stop being playful?
She collapses into practicality. Early on, she serves romance in secret. Later, she serves survival at any cost. And that shift is disastrous for Juliet. Because Juliet needs loyalty and moral clarity, not household convenience.
This is the Paris advice.
Yes. Capulet orders Juliet to marry Paris. Juliet begs the nurse for help. This is the key test. The nurse knows Juliet is already married. She knows a second marriage is not just awkward. It is a betrayal of Juliet's vows and a destruction of her inner life.
And instead of defending her, she says, "Marry Paris anyway."
Worse, she says Paris is the better match and that Romeo is effectively useless now. It is brutally practical advice. Your husband is gone. Your father is furious. Take the safer option. But for Juliet, that is not sensible realism. It is abandonment.
Because the one adult she trusted has just told her to split herself in two.
Exactly. Before this, secrecy tied Juliet to the nurse. After this, that bond breaks. Juliet stops confiding in her. She says she will tell the nurse no more. That matters because isolation is now complete. Juliet has lost her mother, cannot trust her father, and now loses the one person who used to stand beside her.
So the nurse does not kill Juliet, but she helps create the conditions in which Juliet has nobody left.
That is the clear reading. The nurse helps build the hidden structure of the marriage, then abandons Juliet when that structure starts collapsing. First, she enables the secret. Then she cannot sustain the consequences.
Give me the strategic version. Who wins from the nurse's choices and who loses?
In the short term, Romeo and Juliet win privacy. The nurse wins a sense of importance and closeness. But the adults who should know the truth remain blind, and that makes every later crisis worse. Once pressure hits, Juliet loses most of all, because her supposed ally chooses the stable marriage market over Juliet's actual marriage.
That is why calling the nurse loving is true, but incomplete.
Yes, love is not the same as steadiness. She loves Juliet in a bodily, everyday, intimate way. But when judgment is needed, she is inconsistent. She can carry messages. She cannot carry the moral weight of what those messages mean.
And that keeps the character interesting. She is not a joke machine. She is not a monster. She is a flawed adult whose limits become fatal.
That is the balanced judgment. The nurse is affectionate and often genuinely caring. But care without foresight is not enough. She helps rush Juliet into secrecy. And then, at the worst moment, she tells her to give up what that secrecy created.
So if someone says the nurse is just comic relief, what is the correction in one line?
She starts as Juliet's safest person and ends by proving she is not safe at all.
And that is why she helps ruin everything.
Yes, not because she hates Juliet, but because she loves badly, advises badly, and fails exactly when failure costs the most.